What's good? Welcome to the Hurykane Night Baptist Church. We in the building. Shouts out to Bearded Studios. Make sure y'all come to the Bearded Tabernacle tonight. We in the building. We're gonna talk about I think I got like 2 videos to cover. The first video is it's gonna be talking about Jeebus and how there's really no proof on any level of the existence, and we're gonna talk about the mental mind fuckery of what this shit it really is, and it's gonna be broken down real cool. It's gonna be broken down real cool, and then after that video, it's gonna be about I think Coach Lorenzo Reed from the Deconstructing Christianity channel. Much love to Crystal, is cool. Salute to Knowledge Uprising. The church doors are open. Shout out to Crystal. Much love. Y'all know Crystal was a goddess of the new world, right? Once I'm done liberating this bitch, it's gonna be ran by Crystal. Yup. So y'all pay homage to the goddess of the new earth after I'm done destroying this motherfucker. And the first lady, Vonta, she gonna control space. We're gonna have space and earth on lock. What y'all know? Let me go find this real quick. Hold on real quick. I wish I could play some music, but YouTube took away the goddamn feature. So now nigga can't do shit. But before I was playing music on the fucking live, I was talking. So gotta take the good with the bad. What's good, everybody? Help is on the way. 1 by the land, 2 by sea, right there in front of me. Help is on the way. Right now, here we go. Here we go. If I found the video. It's called Proofs That Jeebus Never Existed. But this ad is playing. Get rid of this ad. God damn, what's wrong with my sound? That's that bullshit. Here we go. Now I gotta speed it up a little bit because I don't really got that much time. I'm on my StreamYard anytime minutes, y'all. Struggle streaming at its finest at the Hurykane Night Baptist Church. We don't got the Summer Jam big screen like these mega churches do. We got the small phone screens, y'all. We got the lopsided motherfucker projector cameras in this bitch. But anyway, all right, here we go right now. We're about to go to the channel. The channel is called Secularis. 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 It's like a dude sound like a constellation mixed with secular shit. Secular Laris. It's like a Greek god or some shit. But that's the channel that we on right now. Secularis. Yep, I be in a lot of esoteric channels too. So some Gnostic channels, some more spiritual channels also. You know, like just to gather some truth, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Not understanding, overstanding. Well, not overstanding, understanding. Not understanding, understanding. Niggas is arguing about that. Y'all know that? You know, niggas is arguing about that. And the word black. I'm not black. You know what black means and all this? I was like, look, I'm just trying to put everything in context, but you can't say nothing to a motherfucker nowadays. You know what I'm saying? I've been on many platforms, many platforms talking about the same shit when it comes to theology, mythology, astrology, identity. Motherfuckers is caught up in that identity shit, that Christian shit, and that government shit. Once my people, and y'all know what I mean, come out of that religious and political dogma, we could probably start a revolution. But most importantly, it all starts at home. When a motherfucker don't know who they are, they go try to find themselves. And when they find themselves, what's next? Because otherwise, we're going to keep on fucking debating and arguing with each other forever. So let go the religious and political dogma and get rid of that identity talk. Pan-African, Hebrew Israelite, Christian. It's like, so the fuck what? Is that shit putting food on your fucking table? Is that shit paying your fucking bills? And plus, like, real shit, and this is common sense to me, the motherfucking Pan-Africans, Hebrew Israelites, why don't y'all take y'all asses over there to that fucking country and do that shit over there, and I guarantee you get shot in the ass. Guaranteed. So no, you're gonna do it here and motherfucking like irritate my fucking day at work. I'm trying to go to work in peace. I gotta see y'all purple Power Rangers every day talking shit. But y'all can't do that shit in the suburbs though. Why is that? You gotta see your ass in the hood, downtown and shit. And most of these motherfuckers are scammers. And most of these motherfuckers are called leaders. They some motherfucking called leaders. Cult-like activity. And you can see it online and offline. I should call out one of these content creators. That nigga was talking about, like, I'm gonna take everybody wrench. But I give it back, but you gotta put some letters in front of your name and give you a wrench. Y'all probably might know who that motherfucker is. I did a motherfucking I'm short on this motherfucker. We'll call them Squid Games. We'll call it Squid Games. We'll call it Squid Games. Yeah, you got to put a H, T, and some more other motherfucking letters in front of y'all name. Like, that's cult-like behavior, people. That's like me telling everybody in my chat, I'm going to take away all y'all fucking wrenches. I will give it back if y'all put Rebel in front of y'all name. That's some cult shit. I don't want y'all to come to church and get this knowledge. Come here and get this motherfucking knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. No, it ain't just overstanding. God damn it. Understanding. How about let's stand on the fucking truth? Your truth is this. Your God, your Jesus, no matter what religion you fuck with, where they at, because they not here, no proof of existence. So since everybody, well, no, not everybody. Since most Christians be like, we don't fuck with the Old Testament, right? We don't fuck with the Old Testament, right? We only fuck with the New Testament. But it says in the New Testament, when Jesus come back, he's not taking one tittle from the law of his Father. So that means all that shit in the Old Testament is condoned by the Jesus that y'all so love and claim y'all have a relationship with. When you ask the question, show me the proof of your relationship, did Jesus send you a text message? Did God show up? Did motherfucker peek out the car and say, peekaboo, bitch? Snapchat, Skype, whatever. None of that shit. So we about to get off into it. Much love to Krista. Shouts out to our brother, Bearded Conversations. Bishop Bearded in the building. Shouts out to the bishop. Y'all make sure y'all come to Bearded Tabernacle. 72% of Southern Africans are Christian. Yeah. And you know, when it comes to that, it's because of the invasions and shit. And plus, people keep on thinking Africa is like a country, dog. Like, it's a continent. You know what I'm saying? It was like, you know, like I say, if all of Africa was Christian, then like, damn, nigga, they really got fucked up in the invasions. Not by just other people, but just by every fucking body that just came to Africa and just raided that bitch and just went home. What type of shit is this? And then forced Christianity on motherfuckers. But we can get off into that talk later. You know about the about the Christian spirituality and shit. I think like that's in Coach Rand's, or maybe it's in this one. And most of them are women with them big ass hats on, fighting for supremacy in the church. Who got the best motherfucking hat? And the younger chicks under them who got the best dress. But the chick in the front is fucking the pastor. Holla! But y'all make sure y'all come to Bearded Tabernacle later tonight at 10. You already know. It's 10 to get in. Make sure y'all get back to the church. I think my Cash App is in my bio, I think. I don't be asking for money. But the Cash App is in the chat. You know, donate to the church. I'm gonna be real transparent. My shit is going towards land and freedom tours. You know, like, that's if I get bigger money. But small buddy, shit, this shit is going towards my new computer, man. I need 250. I need 250 to fund the church computer. So I can get back live. Shouts out to Jordan. I know Jordan is in the building too. You know, the head of the choir, nigga, choir director is bitch. Put your cash app in the chat. Say what? What is my cash app? I think is I think it I think it's that. I think it's that. I think this still my cash app, yo. I think I didn't want to cut off on a nigga. We back.
Away tradition and just look at the evidence, or more accurately, the lack of it. A very different picture begins to form, not a blurred photo, a blank canvas. Start with the most basic question. Where's the historical record? Not church writings, not religious texts. Independent sources, neutral records. You won't find them. There are no Roman records that confirm
You feel me? You already know.
Jesus ever lived, though Rome kept detailed notes on events far less significant than someone claiming to be the son of a god. A man causing political unrest in Judea would have left a footprint, not a vague rumor centuries later. A proper arrest, trial, execution. These things would be recorded. Crucifixion wasn't rare. It was
Snap. I think I gotta leave out the StreamYard to do it because it's gonna fuck up. But like I know I wrote it down in the chat though. I know I wrote my cash app in the chat. And I think it's in my bio when we go on top of my YouTube page and look at like info or something. But I don't know if I can put the link in. I don't know how to do it. I never done. I'm still one fucker trying to work this goddamn phone. But $ Hurykane JW was the cash app. Holla.
public event. Yet not one Roman document from that era mentions this man. None. That silence is telling. People bring up Josephus, a Jewish historian. But if you look closely, the passage that mentions Jesus is widely considered a forgery. Even
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the goddess Crystal know the cash app. You can put it in. You can put it in if you know it. I mean, you put it in if you got the link to it. Because I think I gotta leave out of my StreamYard to know what to do it. Former load. This Hurykane J for Mercy. Former lowdown. Trambury, what up, though? It's been a minute, man. How you been? Now, this Hurykane JW, the revolutionary artist and content creator, and passive, the Hurykane Night Trap this church. But shouts out to Trav Murray. If Trav Murray around, Breathe Easy must be around the corner somewhere. Shouts out to Breathe Easy if he come through.
Scholars quietly admit that section was tampered with. Some parts are so obviously written in a Christian voice that it's hard to believe it fooled anyone for this long. A Jew like
Right. I don't know how to get to the link either. Don't worry. We'll figure it out. You will figure it out. You know, but I know it's $ Hurykane JW. And once you click on the picture, you're gonna see me with the hoodie on. I think, yeah. Oh yeah, I'm saying it's your favorite. That's what's up. That's what's up. I made sure, like, whoever sent me something, I sent them as my favorite too. So, so I could always like just automatically click on them and make it easy, so I don't gotta look for nobody. Yeah.
Josephus would not have called Jesus the Christ. That's not a historical note. That's a profession of faith. Then there's Tacitus, another Roman historian. But his mention comes nearly a century after Jesus supposedly died. And even that short line could have been based on hearsay, not direct evidence. It's like saying Elvis existed because someone wrote about him in 2060.
Got you.
Compelling. Now, think about this. Not a single text from the time Jesus supposedly lived talks about him. No letters, no scrolls, no later. Even Paul, who wrote before the Gospels, never describes a living, breathing Jesus. He never quotes him. He never says he met him. He talks about visions, spiritual encounters.
Some technical difficulties right now, but yeah, I got the messages, but it's not letting me go into it. But yeah, I think I did I saw the notification pop up, but like it won't let me go into it. I was trying to like leave out and try to go to it and have this part like in the corner so you can still hear the shit. But nope, my phone ain't letting me do that shit. I need a fucking computer, y'all. But yeah, I think I got it. I think I got it. And my shit is fucking. Let me know if y'all hear me. Put a one in the chat if y'all hear your mans. Shouts out to Soul Brother, the Great Lakes. Soul Brother, Great Lakes, Midwest. No days is always welcome. Appreciate it. Just live Cash App. Shouts out to Crystal. I think I got some messages because I see some shit popped up. But like when I went into it, it wasn't letting me load in. So I'm like, God damn, I can't leave the church hanging. I can't leave the fucking church hanging. So it was a little technical difficulty on my part because I wanted to see if I could try to drag the screen over, like the mini screen, and then, be able to go it. Yup. There you go. Good looking out. Good looking out. Good looking out. Hold on 1 second. in. They ain't let me get in. But it's still doing that little buff and shit. But shouts out to Bearded for the donation to the church. Good looking out. You know what I'm saying? But let's get back to it.
Elvis existed because someone wrote about him in 2060. Not compelling. Now think about this. Not a single text from the time Jesus supposedly lived talks about him. No letters, no scrolls, no graffiti, nothing. The Gospels were written decades after his alleged death, and the earliest one, Mark, doesn't even mention.
The Gospels was written decades after the death. Remember that. I need y'all to catch that. All this shit was written decades after his death. Y'all gotta listen to this closely because most Christians is not fucking with the Old Testament. Is Jesus this, Jesus that? So okay, let's get in depth on Jesus and his historical inaccuracy.
Or the resurrection. Those were added later. Even Paul, who wrote before the Gospels, never describes a living, breathing Jesus. He never quotes him. He never says he met him. He talks about visions, spiritual encounters, revelations, not conversations or meals, not cities they traveled together, just dreams and voices. If someone told you they met a person in a vision, would you believe that person existed in real life? When you remove the lens of faith and treat the Jesus story like...
Exactly. If a person told they saw something in the vision, we believe they existed? Hell no. Where the facts and evidence to prove it? That's like me saying, hey, yo, I saw Hercules in my vision. Is he real?
Other historical claim, the foundation crumbles fast. The story follows a pattern, almost too perfectly. Born of a virgin, wise as a child, performs miracles, dies young, comes back. That script was already in circulation long before Christianity. Horus, Mithras.
Exactly, long before Christianity.
Dionysus. Same core plot, different names. It's not just that the Jesus story fits a mythological mold.
Right, it fits a mythological mold. Much love to Emma. So Emma in the building. Go to the Amazon. Oh yeah. The ladies of the church is here. The ladies of the church is here. The ladies of the church is here. I'm tripping. Let's go.
It's that it fits too well. The traits assigned to him are not just suspiciously convenient. They're recycled. Virgin births, star in the sky, followers, betrayal, death, resurrection. It's like someone copied an old myth and changed the names. If it were fiction, it'd be called derivative. Now, look at where Jesus supposedly performed miracles. Small towns, unrecorded places, in front of poor, uneducated followers, never in a stadium, never in front of Roman officials, never on record. And somehow, these massive supernatural events left no physical trace, not even one contemporary eyewitness report. Walk through Jerusalem today, and you'll find more evidence of Roman plumbing than of Jesus. Think about that. Pipes and drains survived, but the greatest man in history left no sandals, no robe, no written word.
No sandals, no robe, no written word, not even a goddamn tomb. And what's crazy is majority of the figures in the Bible, where the fuck are their grave sites at? And plus, people should just use this common sense. They wrote books and stories decades after. It's like, where was the motherfuckers that was carving this shit during this time? It's like, if this motherfucker was a real motherfucking magical figure that fed thousands of people with a motherfucking two-piece fish sandwich, walked on water, turned water into wine, made a blind man see, raised the goddamn dead, don't you think everybody and their mama would be writing about this nigga? But no, we're going to suppress the shit out of this, but then let motherfuckers know that he do exist, but still suppress the evidence. It don't make no sense. It makes everybody confused about what the fuck going on, because I just made myself confused by saying that shit.
Every so-called relic has been debunked. The Shroud of Turin, the pieces of the cross, the crown of thorns, they're all late additions, marketed like...
Yeah, all late additions. Crafted. And it makes you think, if they can craft some fake wood and some fake nails and some other shit, the motherfucker that shroud and shit with the face of Jesus imprinted on it. You know, they motherfucker made TV shows about that all through the 90s. Back when I was a brainwashed Chris, oh my God, the fucking imprint of the face. Get the fuck out of here. Because I think about it now as I went back to watch that old ass shit. I'm like, how the fuck was I brainwashed into this shit? But it's called indoctrination. Fact, this shit funny as hell. For real. So it made me think about, goddamn, if they can fake some Jesus shit and some fake shrouds and fake crosses, even a fake Noah's Ark, if they can fake that, then they can fake those goddamn dinosaurs. Can I get a gram? Because I'm smoking a gram right now. Like, nigga, all that shit, dinosaurs, huh? Ain't a lot of museums. Look. I think if there were dinosaurs, I think it'd be big ass museums in every major city and state in the world, not just country, the world. If they was all over this bitch, and like it'll motherfuckers be still trying to dig their asses up. You feel me? What it do? What the business is? What it do? Shout out to the Monkey Man. And make sure y'all go to Monkey Man's channel. Well, was it again Pastor Pimpin and Bishop Mo Dollars? I got to get that right, y'all. I don't want to fuck up.
Souvenirs. That's not history. That's merchandise. Religions often grow from the lives of real people, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're built from stories, visions, legends. That's what we see here. A story that starts vague and grows with time. It's cleaner, more magical, more useful. The Jesus of the earliest texts is minimal. The Jesus of later texts is divine. That's not biography, that's myth in motion. What makes this even more clear is the timeline of belief. The early Christians didn't all agree on who or what Jesus was. Some groups believed he was just a spirit. Others thought he never had a physical body at all. If he had truly lived, there wouldn't be such confusion. They'd point to...
Exactly. And that's common fucking sense. If he would live, there'd be no confusion. Everybody would be like, yep, that motherfucker's real. It's a definite fact. But we got to put ourselves in the times. Let's just put ourselves in other people's shoes. Have you heard that term before? Put yourself in another person's shoes real quick. Put yourself in the time of this shit, of the times of the so-called Jesus shit. You know, just like walk around in that hot ass sun, be like, God damn, it's hot as fuck. I know for a fact, if y'all would have saw a figure named Jesus doing all this shit, y'all would have wrote that shit down. There'll be motherfucking a paper trail of evidence and independent eyewitness accounts, you know what I'm saying? And like a bloodline tracing shit back to motherfucking actually keep the shit, you know, like within the so-called culture, I guess. But no, it's like fabricated stories from other stories. It's like a modern day motherfucking pop star. You know what I'm saying? You know, like, for example, if Gilgamesh was the star, right? The star back in the day. And then later on, it becomes Dionysus, but they tell them the same fucking story. Then later on becomes Mithra and a whole bunch of other motherfuckers. It's the same fucking story. Motherfuckers getting sacrificed, motherfuckers born from a virgin, doing a whole bunch of miracle shit, magic tricks, parlor tricks, Chris Angel shits, Air Jesus 11s. Yeah, Archbishop keep flowing dollars. Yeah, let me get that right.
Not arguing for theories. You're told there were 12 disciples, but these men, supposedly close friends of Jesus, left no personal writings, not one letter, not one diary entry. You'd think someone who walked with the Son of God would write a few lines about it, but they didn't.
Right. You'd think the motherfuckers that walk with him will motherfucking write about this motherfucker. Like real shit. Like, yo, I let Jesus like, look, I'm about to start doing some shit, y'all, but I don't want y'all to say nothing. They was on some motherfucking Wayne Brothers shit. Shh, don't tell nobody. But you want your word to spread. You fed 5,000 people with a 2-piece fish sandwich. Get the fuck out of here. Somebody has to write this shit down. And not to mention the crucifixion part. Nigga, this was a public event. Motherfuckers bought their popcorn and their tickets to get a front row seat to this shit. Like, you know, like what about, man, the dog is crazy. And then the dying and coming back in 3 days. Oh my fucking God. No one asked this question. Why would God send himself to die, but to really not die? but just come back and be like, yeah, this is proof that I'm God. So worship me, bitch. No, nigga, you just put on a fucking magic trick. How about you come down here, kill the evil on this planet so we can all have peace, love, harmony, joy, and all this great shit and enjoy our nature and not be killed through the food, through the water, through the air, through disease. How about that? God, catch me outside. How about that?
About them others decades later. That's not direct evidence. That's folklore. Even the crucifixion scene reads more like a performance than a record. Darkness falling over the land, earthquakes, dead rising from graves. Yet no one outside the Bible mentions this.
Right. Dead out. Thank you for putting that comment in. And as soon as you put that comment in, and I fucking highlighted, you said it's like, nigga, zombies coming from graves. Like, nigga, what the fuck is this shit? This is a motherfucking what? Nigga, Jesus came out doing a Thriller video. Like, what the? The fuck of 40,000 years. The Thriller. Nigga, Jesus looking at niggas like, ah. Like how Michael Jackson ended the video just looking at the camera with the eyes and shit. That was Jesus.
No Roman official wrote about it. No Jewish historian. A mass resurrection. And it went unnoticed. That defies logic. Christianity.
Yes, a mass resurrection. Yeah, dog. Mass resurrection that went unnoticed. That's unlogical. Unfucking logical.
Because people saw miracles. It spread because of fear, control, and politics.
Fear, control, and politics. That's what it is. Like I said, get rid of the political and religious dogma. Maybe we can start a fucking revolution. For real, for real. Like they expect us to build this kumbaya shit, turn the other cheek shit. But it says in the Bible, serve your earthly masters. Yeah, go look that up. We got to serve our earthly masters. This is God's law. And nigga said, when Jesus come back, he ain't taking one tittle from the law. So guess what? When he come back, he is going to approve what the fuck our government is doing. Whether you from the United States or from the UK, Australia, Mother Russia, Greenland, or those small ass fucking islands. Whatever. He ain't taking one tittle from the law. You read the book of Revelation, God is destroying goddamn the whole goddamn earth. Opening up seals and blowing trumpets and shit. Where the fuck is Lucifer at, by the way? You know what I'm saying? I guess he appears as a dragon and he ain't destroying shit. He chasing a bitch through a wilderness. I thought 1/3 of the earth was destroyed. Where's the wilderness at in this bit? But if you look up the Bible code, wilderness might mean something else. Because in the Bible code, they say sea means people. So, you gotta read it in a motherfucking format that it's supposed to, supposedly. But I say, man, take that book and burn it and throw it.
Once Rome adopted it, it became law. Belief wasn't chosen, it was enforced. Once you attach religion to power, questioning it becomes dangerous. That's how myths survive. Silence, not truth. When you ask why there's no evidence,
through silence, not truth. And everybody's silent about this shit. You feel me? Beauty, you gotta make a t-shirt, bro. You feel me? You gotta make that a t-shirt. You gotta make that a t-shirt, bro. That's trademark. That's trademark. This place is falling apart. Yup. This place has been falling apart since those bastards came out the sky. You know what I'm saying? We will go back to colonization, but no, I want to go back to the goddamn source. I want to go back to the source of all this bullshit. Isaiah 45, he create good and evil. So I gotta give God these hands, y'all.
The answer is simple. There was no event, no man, no life to record. The gaps aren't accidental. They're expected when the subject is fictional. This isn't about disproving a few details. It's about pointing out the total absence of a man who should have been everywhere. You don't have to prove he didn't exist. The burden is on those who claim he did. That burden has never been met. You can't build history on belief. You need facts.
You can't build history on belief. You gotta have facts. And people, I like to live in the state of knowing. I want you to know that motherfucker never existed. You know, I want you to know that if he did exist, He's on the side of the government. Yes, the government can. Because in Deuteronomy, it says, thou shalt serve thine enemy. And in most churches, real shit, most churches, when I was growing up, I'm 37 now, but I'm growing up in church, I used to hear pastors call the congregation Egypt. You know, it was all slave rhetoric. As I think about it now, it was always slave type of rhetoric. He ain't be direct with it, but it was subtle. When called the congregation Egypt and preaching from Deuteronomy and Exodus, slave passage books, and then go to the Jesus story to feel better about what you read in the Old Testament. This shit is fucking crazy. It was like a pattern. It was a pattern that I saw. And wives getting smashed under the staircases and everybody getting their money taken away. Pastors getting hauled off in handcuffs for doing some off the wall dumb shit. Rather if you smashing somebody's wife or stealing the money and shit. Shit was crazy growing up. It was crazy growing up. That South Park episode of Super Best Friends, Buddha, Joseph Smith, yep, Jesus, Muhammad. Yo, you remember? Oh, Chris, that was a turn on like that. We can binge and watch South Park all day. That's what's up. Yeah, I'm glad you remember that because they actually showed Muhammad's face the first time they pulled that shit off. The second time they tried to pull that shit, I guess the Muslim countries or the Muslim government was like, South Park can't do this shit. South Park was like, nigga, we're still going to make this episode, but we'll put a black box over him this time. So when we saw the episode and saw the black box, we automatically knew, oh yeah, nigga, that's Muhammad. We still got our laugh in. But it shows that censorship is crazy. It's like, we can't talk about these Israel motherfuckers in the Middle East, but we have free reign to talk about everybody else. What's up with Israel? That's another question. What's up with Israel and Scientology? Why we can't talk about those two things without being fucked with, fucked over, blocked, deleted, demonetized, shadow banned, and tossed to the abyss? Go back to Nixon. Shouts out to Jordan. Nixon said, nigga, we always gonna fuck with Israel, motherfucker. I think it got something to do with that Balfour Declaration or some motherfucking power structure shit. As a matter of fact, I talked about this on the JVJ Network. Make sure y'all subscribe to the JVJ Network. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'll be over there sometimes when I'm not on my revolutionary shit, when I'm not on my Pastor Kane shit. I can just go over there, and just really give my intellectual side. And starts out to Bearded Conversations also. It's like going to other platforms and expressing myself on an intellectual, spiritual level outside of the revolution. That's the other side of my coin, So I'm like, you know what? It's cool to have podcast etiquette and decorum and respect for one another when it comes to these beliefs, theories. I just want to thank y'all because I'm surprised that I even have an audience right now. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody and their mama called me crazy. Not over here on this side. Yeah, I know. Scientology is a motherfucker. And it ain't no conspiracy. It's fact because some people came out about it because people that was in that, that fucking cult. I'm gonna call it a cult like church. That motherfucking place, Scientology, the whole organization. They got judges, doctors, lawyers, politicians, and celebrities in their fucking pocket. That shit is fucking crazy. That's the shit that made Isaac Hayes leave South Park. I'm glad we brought up South Park because Scientology is the reason why Isaac Hayes had to leave the show. Quick story before we move forward. Quick story. South Park was about to do an episode dissing Scientology. Isaac Hayes was like, you can't do that. Now, I think the people at Scientology told Isaac Hayes you need to feel some type of way about this. And Isaac Hayes went along. But if it was Isaac Hayes saying, no, nigga, you can't talk about Scientology, then he's a fucking hypocrite. Now, I love Isaac Hayes' music. I love his music. Have you ever seen my balls? They're big and salty and brown. If you ever need a quick pick me up, just put my balls in your mouth. Suck on my chocolate salty balls. Suck it on my balls. Put them in your mouth and you suck them and you suck them. Pause. Give them from God. God. But yeah, but Isaac Hayes was like, South Park, you can't do that. Now, here's what makes him a hypocrite. Isaac Hayes been on that show for years. South Park has dissed God, Jesus, Moses, and every other fucking religion, celebrity, known to motherfucking man. They go ham on everybody. If I was a fucking top celebrity, they would motherfucking probably have me on the episode saying, fuck the government. I got no dialogue. It's just fuck the government on every motherfucking scene. I'm saying it light and I'm saying it rough. Pause. God damn, we can't say shit no more. You're killing me with this shit. But anyway, they was like, yo, they go Isaac Hayes, they go like, we talk about everybody. So Isaac Hayes felt some type of way. He left the show. So you know what South Park did? They killed Isaac Hayes' character off. Chef. They killed them off. It was bad. It was so fucking bad. But then at the end of the show, like when the boys be talking, you know, when they be like, I learned something today. And shit, you know how they give their final thought of the episode? Man, that was how they really felt. I got to go back to the episode where Chef dies. And it was about Scientology. And like they didn't call it Scientology. It was like, you know, it was some type of club. It was some type of club with a whole bunch of, you know, like prestigious people. God damn, it's been a minute. But I remember the concept of that episode. Boondocks over South Park, and I'm standing no business on that. Boondocks need this more time. Yeah, Boondocks all day. Boondocks, yeah. Like what I love about the Boondocks, it holds up the mirror to society. That's what I love about it. Boondocks is good, but like for sure, like any show that's gonna go ham on government, religion, and celebrities, I fucks with. Like I fucks with it like a motherfucker. Simpsons was on that shit in the beginning. I'd say like the first 7 or 8 seasons. But it all started. I think I saw Simpsons go downhill when they bought Tony Hawk and NSYNC on that bitch. And they were just riding they motherfucking nuts. Pause. Because usually they'll make fun of a celebrity, like a celebrity appear on the show. Like they'll make fun of them or like they'll do a small little cameo and sing and shit. But majority of the time, you know, like it's kind of making fun of them. You know, and like celebrity death match. You know, like they make fun of celebrities. They fucking killing each other in the ring. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I fucked with it. But Boondocks all day. Boondocks is one of the greatest cartoons ever conceived. Like I remember when it was in the newspaper, in the funny papers. You know, it was like in a small corner.
Facts. You need records. You need names, dates, places. The Gospels written by anonymous authors decades after the fact. The Jesus story is full of moral messages, no doubt. But a story with morals isn't the same as a story that's true. You can admire a tale without confusing it with reality. What matters is understanding how myths are born, how they spread, and why they last. If Jesus existed, we'd know it by more than tradition, more than stained glass and sermons. There would be evidence that stands up to scrutiny. But there isn't. Not in history, not in archaeology, not in contemporary writings, not anywhere. And the more you study this silence, the louder it becomes. There's another problem that people overlook. The language of the texts. The Gospels were written in Greek, not Aramaic, which Jesus and his followers supposedly spoke. These were not eyewitness accounts. They were written by educated Greek speakers living outside of Judea. People writing decades later, in a different language, about a land and culture they didn't belong to. That's not how history is recorded. That's how legends are built. We don't know who wrote the Gospels. The names Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John were added later.
Yeah, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John was added later. And ask yourself this question. Anybody in the Middle East named Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John in any way, shape, or form, they wouldn't even put that in their lineage. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And you go back in time and look at the type of names that was around. What the fuck is a Matthew? You know, all right, John the Baptist, okay. But still, though, we don't even still think that motherfucker real. John the Apocrypha, like the nigga that wrote Revelation and shit. Like, man, that shit was fucking crazy. But the secret book of John, where John gets met with Barbello, and Barbello tells him, hey, yo, Jesus is fake. This is the truth. Your God is evil, motherfucker.
The writers never identify themselves, and their accounts don't even agree with one another. Different genealogies, different birth stories, different timelines, different final words on the cross. If the Gospels can't agree on the details of their own main character, how are they reliable?
Exactly.
Lived during the time Jesus
exactly. Even the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, they say different shit. If they saying different shit and they was actually with the motherfucker, how can you find this shit reliable? But everybody go to John 3:16. For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. He whosoever believe in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. That right there is a goddamn lie. People die every day, B. You'll be all right, right? That's no different from saying, if you bite from this fruit, you will surely die. Adam and Eve lived over 500 years. But he brought death into the world, though. Those motherfuckers were supposed to surely die. They lived over 500 fucking years. If they was real. But they wasn't. So, but even if they was, you read the book of Adam and Eve, oh my fucking God. Angels is motherfucking S.A. and Eve. Eve gets tricked again, comes back to Adam. Adam looking at this bitch like, oh my God. You got tricked again. So we got a motherfucking self. Man, there was moments where they was motherfucking self-deleting. Like shit was fucking crazy. Self-deleting and getting brought back to life. I don't know what the fuck I was reading, but that shit, it ain't real.
Wrote anything about him. Philo of Alexandria was a Jewish philosopher who lived in the right place at the right time. He wrote volumes about Judaism, about messianic figures, about strange teachers and miracle workers, but not a word about Jesus, not one mention. That's not a small oversight. That's a major hole. Think about this too. Bethlehem. The birth story was...
Did they still have the comic section of funny papers? Yeah, they still got it, but it's not a lot as it used to be. I need to grab another newspaper and find out like if it got smaller or they took it away. But like the last time I seen it, it wasn't really a lot of strips. It wasn't really a lot of strips, but like back in the day, it was like a whole like 2.5 pages of comic strips. Like holy shit. But they have Boondocks in a small corner on the last page. But I liked it because it was a unique art style that I've never seen before. And I'm like, this is pretty cool. They heads big as fuck and they body small, but like it's unique.
Nazareth, the town where Jesus supposedly grew up, didn't even exist at the time. Archaeologists have found no evidence of a settlement there in the 1st century.
Woo, the settlement of where he was born is not even existing. That shit right there should be like, okay, y'all, these motherfuckers ain't real.
Grow up in a town that hasn't been built yet. The more you dig, the less you find. A real person with real marks, birth records, mentions in letters, official documents, stories from enemies, critics, tax records.
Yeah, from enemies, tax records. I'm talking about like, nigga. Jesus was just like, you know what, y'all? I want y'all to leave everything behind, and we're gonna be homeless for the rest of our life and just walk around. And niggas was actually leaving their cribs and family, leaving their life behind to follow Jesus. Nigga, that motherfucker came and threw some fairy dust on their ass and said, yes, master. Yes, master. Nigga, they was on some Hugo shit.
But in the case of Jesus, all we have is hearsay, anonymous gospels, and religious writings that were edited over time to fit a growing theology. That's not a historical trail. That's a marketing campaign. And it worked.
Woo, that's a marketing campaign. Goddamn. You Roman sons of bitches. Goddamn you, Constantine 325 AD at the Council of Nicaea and all these other motherfucking councils. All these motherfuckers was originally sun worshippers, by the way. And look, let's look at common sense. If I was down there like in that time, I would worship the sun too, probably, because I can actually see that bitch. And it's actually doing something to the planet. It's healing it, it's giving it its nourishment and shit. You know what I'm saying? And the moon, I would probably worship that bitch too. You motherfucking light up the night and shit. Thank you. You know, you the shit. Pay homage to the sun and moon and the stars and the wind that blows and the grass that grows. Oh, bars. And the motherfucking mountains and 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 buffalo so we can shoot and eat. I would be a sun worshiper too. But these motherfuckers like, yo, we got a dog ass plan to brainwash these people. What we gonna do? meet me at Nicaea, y'all. Meet me at Nicaea. I got a plan.
The Jesus story was a perfect product for an empire looking to unify its people.
Empire.
It gave the poor hope, the powerful control, and the clergy endless authority. Once belief was linked with salvation, questioning it became dangerous. Heresy was punished, doubt was buried, libraries were burned.
Oh yeah, they would have murked the shit out of me. They would have did my ass like they did Samson. Samson, the Philistines are a party. They would have fucked me up. But this is why the Gnostics had to dip. You know what I'm saying? You'd have been persecuted and killed, arrested, killed, arrested, you know, and your fucking temples burned. But what's so dumb about the enemy is y'all dug the shit back up and y'all dug the shit back up and deciphered.
That's not how truth behaves. That's how propaganda spreads. The early Christian church didn't grow because everyone was convinced by evidence. It grew because it absorbed local customs, wiped out rivals, and became politically useful. Over time, the stories grew bigger, the miracles grander,
For sure.
the theology more rigid. The Jesus of history disappeared, replaced by the Jesus of doctrine. Religious institutions have a long history of reshaping stories to serve their needs. The Council of Nicaea in 325 CE.
Did I just say that? Did I just say the Council of Nicaea? What I say? Meet me at Nicaea.
Decided what Christians should believe about Jesus. That's when doctrines like the Trinity became official, not because of evidence, but because of votes.
Oh yeah, on that Trinity shit. Since we all, you know, like to indulge in some shit, we gonna take that goddess shit out. It's gonna be the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. All right, you know, like no goddess shit. I'm tired of hearing about this bitch. Who gives a fuck, right? Yeah, Constantine. You know what? They're gonna make a movie about me later on in the future starring Keanu Reeves. It's gonna be awesome. Who's Keanu Reeves? Never mind that. I'm from the future. But we're gonna brainwash these Christians and we're gonna keep political order in this shit because there's too many of these motherfuckers. I swear to God, if they swarm my motherfucking castle, I'm gonna kill everybody in here. We're not gonna be kings and emperors no more. We're gonna replace the crown hat with a pope hat. What the fuck is a pope, Constantine? What's a pope? You'll find about it later, but you might not live to see it.
Won by majority, not merit. That's not scholarship. That's politics. The oldest Christian writings don't even place Jesus on earth. The earliest layer of belief treated Jesus as a heavenly figure, revealed through scripture and visions. His story becomes more human over time, not less. A God who slowly becomes a man in the text, rather than the other way around. That's the opposite of what you'd expect if he had really lived. And the resurrection, that's the heart of the story. But there's no consistent version of it. Some gospels say the tomb was guarded, others say it wasn't.
Yep, that's the contradictions that's in the Bible. Some say the temple was guarded, some say it wasn't, some say 2 chicks went to go see it, some say it's 1, some say it was she ran back to the disciples, and some say she ran back to, I guess, 1 or some shit. It's like the contradictions right there, it just like it's really fucking crazy. And the contradictions start in the beginning of the Bible with Genesis 1 and 2. And don't nobody see that. Genesis 2 is supposed to be Genesis 1. Don't nobody understand the mental fuckery right now. No one questions it.
Others say 2. Some say Jesus appeared to crowds. Others say only a few people saw him. These are not minor differences.
What I just say? What I fucking just say?
They're fundamental contradictions. If someone came back from the dead, the world would notice. But the only reports we have are from deeply religious sources. decades after the event, written in a time when visions and divine appearances were common storytelling tools. No court records, no Roman accounts, no independent verification, just belief passed down. When people say Jesus changed the world, they're right. But that's not proof he existed. Big myths can shape history. They don't need to be real to be powerful. The Trojan War inspired generations of culture. That doesn't mean Achilles was a real person. Stories shape society.
Exactly. And I love the Achilles story. Y'all seen the movie Troy? Troy was the shit. Troy was the shit. I forgot that movie was long as fuck though. But I was sitting there, big man, like I swear to God, I went through like 7 or 8 blunts watching that movie. Like, oh, this movie is the shit. I would have beat my little brother ass. I don't give a fuck. Hector should have whooped Perseus' ass. Nigga, you just took the chick from the other land. Was it Athens? No. Was it Helen of Sparta? You took a chick from another land, nigga, and you hit her on my ship, and we already in the middle of the ocean. I can't even turn around. Oh my man, nigga, oh my God, I would have beat my little brother ass all the way back to fucking send this bitch back. I know our people would have been like, hey, yo, there's no phones at the time. So like the people back at motherfucking Troy is gonna be like, nigga, our boy is supposed to be back by now. Like, I hope nothing happened. And then we come back late as hell and little brother's in chains. It's like, yo, nigga, why you got your little brother chained up? Because this stupid ass, dumb ass, fuck ass motherfucker, he didn't even kidnap the bitch. The bitch wanted to go with him. But this shit is going to cause a fucking war with Agamemnon. And guess who they got under their motherfucking pocket? They got a nigga named Achilles. You think I want to get killed by a nigga that can't fucking die as the son of Zeus? Are you fucking nuts? Man, nigga, I would have, oh my God, I would have fucked somebody up.
Even in modern times, people create imaginary figures with real consequences. Think of cult leaders inventing prophecies or founders writing holy books they claim. If those movements survive long enough, their origin stories become sacred history, even if they started with a lie. The argument that Jesus must have existed because Christianity spread quickly doesn't hold up either. Islam grew just as fast. So did Mormonism. Speed of growth doesn't mean truth. It means the story was appealing.
Woo! Damn, the speed of growth doesn't mean truth. It was just appealing. I know one thing. I'm glad I got a paper trail. I'm glad y'all know the Hurykane because y'all can spread my message all over the place. Y'all have permission to download all my shit. Put it on MP3 files and have an archive of me and spread that shit all across the country because the country needs to hear about revolution. For real, for real. For real, for real. Because it seems every generation is having war and is having conflict with their own government and governments around the world. It's nonstop. And I think Einstein said it. As long as man exists, there will always be war. But if we eradicate the evil on this planet, maybe it's going to be better. But there's evil quotes saying, you drop one evil man, another evil man rise up overnight to take his place. It's an endless fucking cycle. You know what I'm saying? It's just like the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth and shit. So if it is what it is, and causality and entropy and all this shit is, real, fuck it. Let the circle keep going. The circle of life and death and rebirth.
Resonated. Gave people something to follow. That's sociology, not archaeology. Some people try to point to artwork or relics. But the earliest Christian art doesn't even depict Jesus as a person.
With certified Culligan filtration, something extraordinary.
My bad, John. That's an ad.
Artwork or relics. But the earliest Christian art doesn't even depict Jesus as a person. He's shown as a symbol, a lamb, a shepherd, a fish. It took hundreds of years.
Yeah, a lamb and a fish. He's showing his symbols in the early days. And let's go back to the book of Revelation. I'm glad he said lamb, the blood of the lamb, right? His final form, Jesus' transformation. He's turned to a slain lamb with 8 eyes and a sword coming out of his mouth. That is a Final Fantasy boss fight. I'm going to run up that sword and punch that nigga in one of his eyes.
For a standardized image of Jesus even appeared. That's a clue. It means the visual idea of Jesus was shaped long after the belief was. And still, to this day, no one can show you a contemporary image, not one drawing, statue, or carving of the time he supposedly lived. And this is a man who's said to have attracted thousands. He supposedly overturned temple tables, healed the sick, raised the dead. Yet nothing was recorded at the time. That absence matters. In fact, many of the sayings attributed to Jesus weren't unique. They were common among Jewish rabbis, Greek philosophers, and earlier religious movements. The Golden Rule, for example, predates Jesus by centuries. The Sermon on the Mount contains phrases already found in previous texts. The teachings weren't revolutionary, they were recycled. Religious defenders say absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence. But when something should leave evidence and doesn't, that absence becomes meaningful. If someone claimed there was a famous doctor who cured thousands in New York in 1995, but no one remembers him, no hospitals have records, and no patients can be found, would you believe the story? Now multiply that by 2,000 years. Add the layers of theological editing. Add centuries of war, suppression, and rewriting. The result is a legend that looks deep but rests on air.
Yeah. And we can use Dr. Sebi as an example. They suppress his work, but that man exists. His motherfucking formula of healing people exists, but they want you to be brainwashed by pharmaceutical shit and look at him as evil because you're getting shit from the earth. You're a witch, a warlock, or whatever, but he's healing his people without any bullshit symptoms. You know what I'm saying? But you take a motherfucking pill, you got to read the fine print at the bottom of the screen. Or they'll tell you, may cause blood pressure, diarrhea, and suicidal thoughts. Come and take this motherfucker today. It's like two motherfuckers playing basketball, looking all happy on the commercial and shit. But it's telling you separation of thigh meat. Explosive diarrhea. Temporary blindness. Like, nigga, what? This is supposed to heal me, not kill me. But listen to John D. Rockefeller's Secret Covenant.
A story that survives, not because it's true, but because it's been told so many times that people stopped questioning it. Jesus might be the most believed in person who never existed. And that's not by accident. It's the result of centuries of careful myth building, suppression of critics, and emotional conditioning.
And murder. Because y'all murdered the Gnostics. And even if they shit wasn't true, saying that God is evil, y'all suppressing other people, silencing them. And everybody is in fear of questioning them. Some don't want to question because they don't want to lose friends and family members. Some don't want to question because they feel they might doom their own soul to hell. That shit is crazy. And what's the key word? Fear. Man, you got to question everything.
Belief is tied to identity. Logic becomes the enemy. And once doubt is labeled sin, asking questions becomes dangerous.
Yeah. So this is why I say at the Hurykane Night Baptist Church, we got to ask. We gonna ask. We gonna ask some questions.
Questions matter. Evidence matters. If you ask for proof and all you're given is scripture, that's not a historical answer. That's a circular argument.
Yes, it's a circular argument, and Christians love to talk in circles. But I forgot to put my disclaimer up. God damn it. Disclaimer. I am cool with conspiracy Christians, spiritual Christians, and my Gnostic Christians. The conspiracy Christians look up the same shit I'm looking up and exposing the enemy. The spiritual Christians value meditation, understanding that the kingdom of heaven is within God and Jesus is within the heart chakra. You work on that and go all the way up to the throat chakra, third eye chakra, and the crown chakra, so you can be in a state of godhood or goddesshood. You can be a walking embodiment of light. And the last are the Gnostic Christians. I fucks with the Gnostic Christians because they understand that the God that created physicality, this world, and the known universe is evil as shit. Look around you.
That's faith trying to pass as fact. The truth is, there are more reasons to doubt the existence of Jesus than to accept it. Not fringe reasons, not conspiracy theories, just simple historical, logical observation. No birth certificate, no writings, no eyewitness accounts, no Roman documentation, no physical evidence, no consistency in the stories, no agreement among early believers, no independent confirmation, no record outside the faith. The silence isn't small, it's overwhelming. Think about how many ordinary people from ancient history we still know about. Merchants, soldiers, farmers, people who weren't followed by crowds, who didn't perform miracles, who didn't spark global religions. And yet, their names survive. Their homes, coins, letters, even shopping lists have been uncovered. They were not divine. They were not worshipped.
They're giving out free solar panels and battery systems.
It's like, yep, gotta put these ads in.
Everywhere.
Were not worshipped, but they left a trace. Jesus, on the other hand, left nothing. A figure this important should be easy to confirm. But the more you search, the more you realize the story doesn't hold. Every angle leads to silence, contradiction, or fabrication. The trail starts cold and never heats up.
Yep.
That's not
Because the Bible is full of puzzles, mysteries, riddles, contradictions, metaphors, symbolisms, parables, numerology, and a splash of spiritualism.
what you expect from a real person. That's what you expect from a myth slowly formed by people who needed a savior to create. Even the timing of the story raises questions. Jesus supposedly lived during a time of growing tension in Judea, a time of messianic expectations, a time when many men claimed divine authority. His story fits neatly into that era, but also competes with others who were far better documented. There were other messiahs, and we know about them. We know where they lived, what they said, and how they died, but not Jesus. The Jesus of history is a ghost. The Jesus of belief is a construct, a theological puzzle pieced together from older myths, stitched into a political tool, and polished by centuries of tradition. The result is convincing, but only if you don't ask questions. If you study other mythologies, you'll notice the same pattern. Start with a vague figure, add miracles, give them a divine origin, surround them with loyal followers, end with a dramatic death, promise a return. It's a formula, not a biography. The early church understood this. That's why they needed councils to decide which texts were official and which weren't. They had to choose which stories to keep, which to cut, which to brand as heresy. And all of it happened long after Jesus supposedly lived. The version people follow today is not even the original one. It's the approved one, shaped by power. There are gospel texts that were left out, dozens of them. Some show a very different Jesus, a teacher, not a God, a man who speaks in riddles, not one who promises salvation. Those texts were buried, burned, or labeled dangerous. The early church didn't want a debate. They wanted control. If Jesus had truly existed, there would be no need for all this filtering, no need to decide which version to accept. History doesn't need an editor, but mythology does. And what about the miracles? Walking on water, feeding thousands with a few loaves, raising the dead. These are the kinds of claims that cry out for attention. If even one of them were witnessed by an educated observer and recorded independently, it would change everything. But that never happened, not once. These stories appear only in texts written decades later, in a religious context, by unknown authors, with no external support. The same kinds of stories are found in countless other traditions. Miracles are not proof of truth. They're a common feature of myth-making. The resurrection is the final stroke. A man comes back to life, appears to his followers, then ascends into the sky. It reads like the climax of a well-written drama. But even the Gospels don't agree on what happened. Different people, different places, different times. A miracle that changed the world. And yet no two stories can get it straight. And even more puzzling, no one else noticed. No Roman report, no temple record, no citizen.
Right. No Roman report, no temple record. Like, what the fuck?
Testimony. A man defeats death, and the city carries on like nothing happened. That kind of silence says more than words ever could. People will say, but faith doesn't need proof. That's true, but history does. If you claim that someone walked the earth, taught, healed, died, and rose again, you are making a historical claim. And historical claims require evidence. Stories written long after the fact don't count, especially when they are the only source. In any other field, this standard would be laughed out. Archaeologists wouldn't accept a rumor as evidence of a buried city. Historians wouldn't accept a single anonymous letter as proof of a war. Scientists wouldn't accept an old book as evidence of a phenomenon. But with Jesus, the rules change. Faith replaces facts. Stories replace sources. And when you step back and look at the full picture, the conclusion becomes clear. The Jesus figure, as described in the New Testament, never existed. There may have been a preacher, a rebel, a wandering teacher who inspired stories. But the man who turned water into wine, who calmed storms, who rose from the dead. That man never walked the earth. That man is a literary invention. The proof isn't found in one argument. It's found in the total absence of reliable data, in the contradictions, in the political motivations, in the mythological patterns, in the deliberate shaping of a narrative to fit theological goals. The belief in Jesus didn't begin with history. It began with hope, with vision, with theology. And then it was passed down, refined, reinforced, and protected. Not because it was true, but because it was useful. Religion often survives not because of what it proves, but because of what it promises. It promises life after death, forgiveness, purpose, and people are willing to believe almost anything to get those promises. But that doesn't make the story real. You don't need faith to ask questions. You just need honesty. And when you look honestly at the evidence for Jesus, you don't find a man. You find a myth, carefully built, slowly expanded, and fiercely defended. The truth doesn't fear investigation. It welcomes it. But the Jesus story falls apart the moment it's examined, not because of malice, not because of bias, but because the facts were never there to begin with. And in the end, silence around Jesus speaks louder than any sermon.
Woo! That shit speaks louder than any sermon. That's deep. That's deep. That is deep. Pause. And my final thoughts on this, I've been up here for an hour. But looking at my anytime minutes, I'm at 14 hours and some change now. But yeah, it's my final thoughts is once you use your critical thinking, comprehension skills, and your common sense, you will realize this for the Christians out there that still believe in this shit. If y'all really sit down and read that book and use your critical thinking, common sense, and comprehension skills, you will understand that book you reading is full of puzzles, mysteries, riddles, contradictions, metaphors, symbolisms, parables, numerology, mythology, and a splash of spirituality. You will be like, I can't fuck with this book. And going back to Jesus, to end off on his note, let's say Jesus was real. I love to always like to quote what he says. Did my father say not that ye are gods? Meaning we are the gods. I took that and I ran to motherfucking to the universe with that shit. If Jesus is real, he said we gods. No, he didn't. Read your book. Then he also said, you will do greater things than I. So if we would do greater things than Jesus, then we are gods. Common fucking sense, right? What did Jesus do? Raise the dead, walk on water, turn water into wine, made the blind see, fed thousands of people with a 2-piece fish sandwich? We're going to do some shit that's greater than that. To me personally, doing something that's greater than that is building a whole new universe where there is peace, love, harmony, and joy, and no death, no war, no famine, no struggle, no pain, no sadness. We will all be living righteously and great. No God to worship, nobody bowing down. I'm talking about like if I made anything, I'll be like, don't bow to me because I bow to no one, nor will I be bowed to. You know what I'm saying? I just want y'all to live. I just want y'all to live. Now, I think I got one more. Or should I do it for the second service? I got to go to work in like 2 or 3 hours. But because we got another Tiger game today. Much love to Vanta. She ain't here right now. She's the first lady at the church. Much love to Vanta. She might come through on the playback. Where is it? I can't find it. It was something from Coach Renz. You know, I got to holler at the coach. I don't know what the hell is it. But shouts out to everybody coming through, man. Just shouts out to Jordan, shout out to Crystal, shouts out to Bearded Conversations. Shouts out to Monkey Man. Y'all the truth. Thank y'all for coming through. And shouts out to everybody. Knowledge Uprising in the building. I'm going to have my harem. Already told you the plan. Crystal is the goddess of earth. Vanta is the goddess of space. I got both ends on lock. I'm good. You know, unless you're ready to start the revolution to give the world to Crystal. It's going to be hers. And if Crystal have any problems at all, and she hit me up, he'd be like, yo, guess some motherfuckers just trying to start a war. I'm going to be like, yo, Vanta, press that button, and we going to nuke the enemies from orbit. I got it on lock. And if any aliens want to come in, we zap their ass too. You know, we got space and earth on lock. I told you, like, once the revolution started, we find out the truth on how all this shit look. Like, I got to cover both ends. I got to have someone on earth. I got to have someone in space. You see, you feel me? These are the goddesses. Everything is going back to goddess status. You know, it's going to be called real Mother Earth now. You know what I'm saying? See, you feel me? You feel me? True goddess of earth. Gonna name the earth after Crystal. Shit. Let's go. You already know. She asked for anything. I will nuke a motherfucker from orbit for Crystal. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, Vanta, hit that button. You gonna stay by that button. Like, let somebody act up. But hold on, I probably gotta type it in. I think I gotta type it. I'm listening to so many motherfucking old school jams earlier. I was listening to some old Sade, Erykah Badu, you know, just gigging, chilling, getting in the zone. I gotta type it in. Deconstruction of Christianity. Yep, it goes China. What was the last one I saw? It was one that I just saw. Yeah, it was called Religion and Government. That's what I was about. Just the last video. It ain't that long. Pause. Religion and government are bedfellows. That's the name of the video. And it's a lady talking. Separation of church and state is an illusion.
Studying religions, see which is better. All of them are against women. All of them follow racism.
Yep. All these religions are against women. All of them is full of racism. This is from an elder woman that's talking.
All of them
Classism. Oppression.
You have to read books, use all your books in order to know that those books are political books. Religion is a political ideology.
Religions are political ideology. Going back to the Constantine shit and going back to the government shit, adding in God we trust. You swear on the Bible. Tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
It's not a moral ideology. It's not about ethics. Is there ethics in religion? We have to ask ourselves. Is there ethics in politics? Because there is no real separation between religion and politics. Religion is a political ideology, and politics cannot exist. Governments cannot exist. Political parties, even the Marxists, cannot exist without religion. They need God all the time to justify injustices.
Woo! I talked about this on the JVJ network too. Make sure y'all subscribe to the JVJ network. I was live, I think I jumped on the panel, I think it was Thursday or Friday. It was probably Thursday, but god damn, like it was I forgot what it was talking about. I'll put it in my community post. But yeah, like we talked about how the colonizers justified the genocide with that book. There been a whole bunch of other motherfuckers around the world doing a whole bunch of the same shit.
When you use God to justify oppression of women, veiling of women, oppression of poor people, class oppression, race oppression, when you use God, then everybody is afraid to criticize. So why people are very afraid to criticize religion and to be apologetic? Why? We have to face this. Because I know many people who are Marxists. I live with them. Marxists, and they are atheists. But they are very apologetic in relation to religion, under the so-called freedom of choice. They say that people are free to choose their religion. Number one, we didn't choose. Because there are hundreds of religions. You have to study all and then you choose. And they say, well, women are veiled because this is freedom of choice. We should not prevent women from being veiled if they choose it. Do women really choose to be veiled? Under any age? Why women are veiled and men are not veiled? I'm not against the veiling, but everybody should be veiled, not only women. I'm not against the nakedness, but everybody should be naked, men and women.
Now, I don't know who that young lady is. She makes some very valid points.
Okay, I gotta show you.
Goddamn
It
ass.
looks like a regular laptop stand right, but wait for it, this thing is
Makes some very valid points. And that is the fact that religion and government has always walked hand in hand for the long recorded time of history. And although many people in countries, Western countries, may think that there is a separation between church and state, it is only the slightest of separation in countries like the United States, where there is not a theocracy that also has government control or government persecution abilities. But they are still closely tied to one another in the fact that the government endorses and utilizes different religions in order to facilitate the continued brainwashing of the people, the continued oppression of the people. But let's go further back. When we go further back and we consider that there was absolutely zero separation between church and state when it came to the ancient world, especially in the time frame of the creation of what most people believe today, whether you are a believer in the Hindu religion or a believer in Buddhism or you believe in Christianity or Islam, the major religions that people still believe in today were originally created and originally ran by government sources. We can see examples of this throughout where Roman emperors or Greek emperors, they were deified as gods, and the imperial religions were ran through and ran by those conquerors. Whether we're talking about the pharaohs of Egypt, Akhenaten decided that he was going to change the religion in Egypt to a monotheistic religion in the 1400s BCE, 1500s BCE, in order for, and when he changed that, I said no before, but when he changed that, he did that and wiped away all the previous religions that was in Egypt at the time frame for 17 years. Egypt was forced into monotheism of worshiping the Aten. As soon as he was kicked out of office, his son, Tutankhamun, reinstated all the previous religions. But many black people like to say that Christianity was in Africa, or the African spiritualism is what Christianity is based off of. The only parts of Africa in the CE era that would have had any contact with this Near Eastern religion would have been those in Egypt, those in modern day Libya, those in Ethiopia, Saudi Arabia. Those would have been the only countries. Saudi Arabia is not really it's part of the African continental shelf, but we normally would call Africa. But those religions were polytheistic. Those religions does not account for the overwhelming majority of Africa. because a continent is not a country. But King Azana in 330 CE, he decided alone that all of Ethiopia would become Christian in the Orthodox Christianity that he was taught by the Orthodox Christians in Alexandria, Egypt, who were under the control of Rome at that time frame. At that time frame, the Council of Nicaea instituted Christianity.
Told you. Meet me at Nicaea, nigga. Meet me at Nicaea. Watch what I do. Watch what I do.
Under the orthodoxy. Those that Constantine knew would support the Roman government in its governing of Christianity. So what we can see is that there was no separation. Government utilized religion, and religion utilized government later on with the papacy in order to control the people. To tell women that you have no rights. To tell women that you must remain veiled. To endorse and facilitate different forms of slavery. To continue to subjugate people of other tribes, and then in the 1500s, subjugate people of different races. Simply because it was endorsed by the religion that the government wanted to go and do these things. Many of you probably don't realize that the transatlantic slavery really got its push and began based on a papal bull written by Pope Nicholas IV. Pope Nicholas, in need to have Spain and Portugal support his crusade against the Ottomans, told Spain and Portugal to stop fighting one another over the slavery, the enslavement of West Africans that were in mostly at that time frame the Canary Islands. But in that papal bull, he said it is your Christian duty as a government to go and subjugate all the people of West Africa and force them into Christianity and make them into slaves. And this was supported by parts of the Bible like Leviticus 25, 44, then 44 and 45. This was supported by the storytelling of how Joshua, once he was giving out the inheritances, told the Danites that if for the Canaanites that you cannot conquer in the land that you are to inherit, you are to make them into your slaves. For the ones you couldn't genocide, make them into your slaves. And then told all 12 tribes that for the nations, for the nations that are surrounding you, you are to make them into your slaves. It didn't say make them into your servants. It didn't say that they should be released in this year of Jubilee. It didn't say that they will be indentured servant. No, it was very clear in Joshua 18 through 22. They are to make those people into forced labor, make them into your slaves as property, the exact same way that Leviticus 25 places it, the exact same way that Hagar was Abraham's slave. And the only reason she separated is because Sarah was jealous. So the government and religion all politicizes oppression to all people. And it is the greatest way to maintain that oppression. Because if you believe that...
Yeah, it's the greatest way to maintain that oppression. This is why I say when we let go of the political and religious dogma, we will burn this goddamn planet down. Give it from God.
In some afterlife, if you're willing to give up your heaven today. So always remember.
Yeah, I think it's like 6 councils. I heard like different other councils too. But that council of Nicaea, meet me at Nicaea, nigga. My name is Constantine, bitch. I got some new laws to put in place. What's good? They're gonna make a movie about me in the future starring Keanu Reeves. Who the fuck is Keanu Reeves? Y'all, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Get it from God.
For yourself to be yourself. Because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.
Good vibration. Shouts out to everybody coming through. I played both videos. Yeah, Casa da Silva was just one of them, but it was one that was very important, though. Very important. You know, they always important, but like that one right there, that's the most talked about one. That's the most talked about because you know everything goes back to that. Let's go. We need 15 more subs for that 1K. Let's push it. Push it to the limit. Port of Miami. Push it to the limit. I like the old one. Riding on the razor's edge. Gotta do that. Oh man. But shouts out to everybody coming through. Shout out to everybody coming through. Like this the first service. I don't know if I'm gonna do a second one because I gotta go to work in a couple hours. Oh, but shouts out to Mind's Eye. But if I do a second sermon, I gotta charge this phone up, and it won't be a long sermon. It might be maybe like 30 or 40 minutes. I might roll through Durante Lamar channel. Open up the limit. You gotta keep it. Oh, yeah. Rick Ross changed the game when he came out with that shit. Yo, I only fuck with Rick Ross' first album. Fuck every other album. That first album, that shit was cold as fuck. Hustling. Every day over. Come on, man. Y'all can't say that if every day I'm hustling came on the radio right now, y'all wouldn't turn that bitch up right. Shit. I know Rick Ross is a fucking cop, but goddamn, that first album. Yo, nigga, that nigga went off on that bitch. I don't fuck with 50 Cent either. But that first album, nigga, they get rich and not trying. Get us to the chat. Love all y'all. Yep. Yep, I think I might come back and damn, it's 2:00 now. You know what? I might do it when I get off of work, but by the time I get off of work, Bearded is gonna be going live. And you know I gotta stop at the Bearded Tabernacle. So chances are, depending on the sermon, depending on how long the sermon is, pause, I might do an after party after his show. Who knows? But I'm still on my StreamYard anytime minutes. I gotta be careful. But this was a good sermon. Like this had to be talked about, talking about Jesus and his origin and talking about the so-called separation between church and state, which is an illusion because these motherfuckers coincide with each other to motherfucking force suppression and fucking over women and doing a whole bunch of other genocidal shit. You know what I'm saying? They're like, yo, but the Bible said I can do it. You know, and they go back to the Bible passages and shit. But yeah, I needed people to hear that and get a full understanding. Go back to your Bibles again and read how crazy God is in the Old Testament. That nigga is evil as fuck. But Jeebus, on the other hand, I think they had to motherfucking make it light because they was like, yo, the Old Testament was gruesome. A lot of decapitations and oppression. God was crazy. We need to make this shit a little light. All right. We need to talk about some guy named Jesus. And we're going to take the stories from old Gilgamesh and Dionysus and Mithra and Heracles. We're going to mix it all up and start changing names. All right, you 72 fucking scholars, get to it. Yo, sir, what about this book of Enoch? Oh, no. Don't put that shit in there. Don't put that Enoch shit in there. And take out all the shit that makes angels look like bad guys, people. I don't want no books of Adam and Eve. Shit. He even went to new too. Hell yeah. That book of Revelation was a motherfucker. He destroyed goddamn 85% of the goddamn planet. Opening up seals and blowing trumpets and shit. I'm like, I thought the devil was the bad guy. You know, that's what I say. Like, this is what I say. Like, if the world was so fucked up and you still have your people that still believe, come down, take your people up to heaven, and leave the world to its devices. Or come down here, take away the evil in the blink of an eye, because you got that power, and then we can all live in peace. It's that fucking simple. But no, we are God's footstool. That's proof that the earth is flat. I don't give a fuck if the earth is flat or round. This earth is fucked. But on a lighter note, yep, they control the narrative. Hard pause. Yep. The story is told in reverse somewhere. Yeah, this shit crazy. Shouts out to Live and Learn. You might have to catch the playback. Message of the day. Message of the day is protect your energy. Protect your household. Protect your family. You know what I'm saying? Keep your head on a swivel. Keep your self-awareness up. Pay attention to your surroundings. You know what I'm saying? And keep your heads up. Keep that bread up. What other message we got? At the Hurykane, Canaanite Trappist Church. You know, and last but not least, ask some fucking questions. We ask some questions. God, why you ain't come down and changed all this shit yet? Why did you put the tree of knowledge and good and evil in the garden if you knew a motherfucker was gonna fuck with it? Why in the fuck would you cast demons down to a planet where you want your people to live peacefully on? You better ask. You gonna ask. We gonna ask some questions. Now, y'all make sure y'all come to the Bearded Tabernacle tonight on Bearded Conversations channel. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I get off of work in time, I might pop up for sure. You know what I'm saying? You know, like I like how we talk about the Scientology shit. You know, dog, if you talk about the Scientology shit, that shit is gonna be wild because when you find out about the celebrities that was exposing it, about what the fuck they was doing, you know, like it's no conspiracy. It's like they got some type of machine that fucks with your brain and they fuck with your money. You know, like they don't take it. You're willingly giving it to them, but god damn, it's a lot of fucking money. But they got politicians, judges, lawyers, doctors, insurance people, and celebrities in their fucking pocket. Scientology is definitely something to look into. You know what I'm saying? And plus, they, you know, I'm talking about they took cult level status to a whole new level. And you know what? I'm not going to motherfucking say it. I'm not going to say it. I might wait till Bearded Conversations that'll happen. But when you get to the highest level of Scientology and you find out the real secret on who they worship and who they fuck with, and the name of your soul and what they call it, shit. It's gonna blow your fucking mind. But people will look at it as a conspiracy, but goddamn, like these motherfuckers are still in effect. These motherfuckers are like Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints level times 10. You know, so it's crazy. These motherfuckers, wow. Peace and love to everyone. Shouts out to everybody coming through. Crystal, Bearded, Live and Learn, Jordan, Mind's Eye, Knowledge Uprising. Monkey Man was in the building. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to everybody. Y'all are true. Trav Murray. You know what I'm saying? And my other shout out to shout out to Low Key, shout out to Ray. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Vonta. Shouts out to Ellie. Shouts out to Philly. Shouts out to Sir Drop. Shouts out to Chuck the God, aka Charles in the building. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to everybody that's gonna watch the playback. Show some love. Now I gotta check the Cash App. I hope my Cash App load up. But shouts out to Crystal. Much love to the goddess of the new earth when I'm done liberating this bitch. And shouts out to Vonta. She's gonna be the goddess of space. We're gonna be nuking motherfuckers from orbit and in space. We're gonna be clowning out here. We're gonna be clowning. People of revolution. The only solution is revolution. Destroy your government now. And that'll be it. Make sure y'all go to Bearded Conversations tonight at 10 for the Bearded Tabernacle. The Bishop Bearded will be speaking. I will be in the building. Hopefully when I get off of work, like hope it don't be a whole bunch of shit to clean up, but like I usually get off of work on time to catch the Bearded Conversation on the Tabernacle. So like everything will be cool. Even if I'm 30, 45 minutes late, maybe an hour late, I'm gonna try to make it there for sure, for sure. So shouts out to everybody coming through. Y'all the truth. We out.